Hello everybody, this is Quinn
Helen.
and today we're going to be talking about digital versus analog cassette interfaces. Now if you don't know what that means, well, we're going to actually explain it right in this video. Okay guys, we are back and I have the Commodore C2N dataset. Now, I was able to find these are pretty common on eBay and sites that sell things like this. Now, so I was able to pick this up for a decent price. Now the thing about these is it's not going to be your standard cassette player because as you can see it's Commodore branded, and if we can get a close-up of this, it uses a proprietary connector called a digital connector. So these aren't just regular cassette. You have to have a Commodore compatible machine that uses this port to use it. People have made adapters over the years, which you can buy on like eBay and Amazon and stuff. But okay, I'll be right back. I'm going to show you what type of cassette we're going to be using. Okay guys, we are back and I have the cassette. So we're just going to be using a standard audio cassette. That's what you use with most of these. No proprietary cassette, just a normal cassette. So, back to talking about this. Yes, so since these were made just for the systems, Atari had a similar connection, but it wasn't the exact same, but they did use a digital connection. And this had, obviously this is branded for it, Commodore logo. Also it has a counter, so you can if it's saving, it'll blink, do whatever right there. And as you can see, it's a C2N data cassette. And let's see what it looks like when you put one in. So you would open it up, and why don't we put it in the right way? So you put it in, and that's what a cassette would look like in there. Okay, so let's move on to analog. Okay guys, we are back. So now we're going to talk about analog. So this isn't called a analog cassette recorder. This is just a standard cassette recorder of the time. Now, the plastic part that would shut down is broken off of this, but don't mind that. All the buttons work, except you have to hold these down instead of actually them clicking down. So as you can see, right here, it's just a standard cassette. You have your volume, you have your volume controls, you have your DC, 6 volts DC. Then here's the analog part of it. If you can see, there's a ear speak, headphones, and then microphone jack. Now the smaller one, it is used, but with the thing I was using, which if you saw my other video on how to use it, how to use the Tandy with this, then you would have saw I didn't plug that in, because actually that was the thing that was like with all the problems. And the plugs that would plug into it, let's do two ways. So first, let's start off with the Tandy way. Yeah. Ouch. And this is what the Tandy cable looks like. So you can't do regular, you have to have the special serial cable and these 3 connectors. So what it would look like is you take your 2 audio jacks that are the big, like the regular normal sized ones, dangle that down there, and as you can see, we have ear speak and things. Let's plug them in. Okay, so yep, ear speak is that one, it in, and mic is this one, in. And that's what it would look like plugged in. Now, let's look at what it would look like with a regular analog, not the Tandy branded. Okay guys, so we're back. So what you would do, this was mainly used by the Timex Sinclair computers of the 80s and the Apple II. But what you would do is, as you can see, these are 2 separate cables, 2 separate just regular audio jack cable, just 2 regular ones, same length. They don't have to be, but you would plug them into the ear speak and the mic. Ear speak is just headphone, And there you go. Look, two connected, and you just plug it into the back of your computer. This is useful for transferring data. Like, there are websites on computers that have Apple II games and stuff that are on cassette, which you could plug in your phone and play. But if you wanted that nostalgic thing, you could just plug in the... You don't need two of them, actually, to use on a computer, but on Apple II, yes, you do. You would just plug one of these from the mic jack in here and the headphone jack in here on the computer. Headphone jack on the computer, mic jack on this cassette recorder. And you could transfer your cassette. You could transfer the sound, and you would have the game on cassette. Which modern technology would take advantage of this. None of the earlier technology would do this. But as you can see, I've spent a lot more time just talking about the analog because there are so many ways you can use it. I guess that you could say that's an upside. So let's get to the versus part of this. So as I said, here you go. The Commodore ones used a proprietary cable. Now this is said to be a lot more reliable, but sometimes it could be super long loading times. Up to 15 minutes, some people have said, but I've seen no YouTuber I've seen has experienced that. But it can. That doesn't mean if you're saving a program on a regular cassette, it's as not reliable. It could still take a while. But since these digital ones, as you can see, I hope you can see, there's, nope, you can't see it. Never mind. But there's this little, no, okay, so as you can see, there's like 6 pins, and there's a line between, there's 2 between the line and 4 on the other side. So yes, that would make 6. And these 2 pins right here are for ground, which means your computer, you're not plugging this into a wall and it could just work. You need the Commodore to use this. That's why I have not shown a video on this yet, because I don't have a Commodore to use it on. But yes, so it takes the actual power from the Commodore to run. And let me switch back. Okay. And as I said, that was a little strange, but it didn't, it was super cheap at the time. It could save data, and the cassette type of data was very common. I don't think it was that expensive at the time. It was a very cheap and cost-effective way to save programs and load them. But this is the same, except it has a wider compatibility. So say you have this Commodore 1, and you have a regular one. So you're like, okay, I can use this on my Commodore 64, but you have tons of other computers. You can use this one cassette recorder on tons of them. So, they were, what was it? The Tandy, Radio Shack, CCR81 and CCR81, 2, and 3 were all cassette recorders that looked exactly like this, except they were branded and it was black. They also had counters on them, sort of like this. I'm going to take a brief moment to explain what a counter does. So, as you can see, it's just a number row with buttons. A button next to it. So, say you have one program. You start from the beginning. You play your program. Then, you want a second program. And after that, you're like, I don't know what's it on. This counter, once you save that program, the second one, you would write down what number it starts at. And you would, next to the number, you would say, this program is on this. But you had to do that with this, because actually one of the ways this is sort of better is these didn't have counters, but the only one I've really used this on is the Tandy. The Tandy actually has a integrated system where you would do cload and then you would do the file name, which if it didn't find the file name, it wouldn't load. But it would skip through all the things until it found its file name. So instead of needing a counter, the computer did all the work. Which that could be, that's because these were said to be more reliable. But also, it's said to be more reliable because these were cheap, not cheaper to manufacture. But if you know what I mean by the other computers knew where it was, but this one didn't. It did lower the price, which this was supposed to be a cheap storage medium. So now it's for the versus part. Obviously, I run this channel, but I did give my opinion. Let's just get over with it. I think this is a better way to store cassette media. Not just because you can use it on tons of things, but most of the computers could directly find your things, and you could use it as a regular cassette recorder. You probably had one of these laying around in the 80s, and you're like, I can use it just with some standard audio jacks. Now I'll let Kellen give his opinion on these, so you can just switch between them whenever you're talking. Okay.
So, well, this is kind of cool, but it doesn't have many things as this. Like, this has a mic and headphones, but, this is kind of normal. It doesn't have anything that has. Does it?
Not really, except for, yeah. The only things it really has is the cassette mechanism and these buttons. Which actually, now that I think about it, that doesn't have a pause button, does it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What?
Oh, this doesn't have pause, but this doesn't have. Oh, this does have fast forward.
Wait a minute. Okay, guys, we'll be back. Okay, guys, we are back from the most confusing thing ever.
I figured
Since
it out.
these both have a stop and eject separately, these have a built-in stop eject right here.
So yeah.
So, problem solved. Kellen,
Yay.
continue.
There's not really much I want to say, to be honest. Wait, does this
You
have
did
a
just
counter?
explain. No, it does not have a counter.
Oh.
But as I originally explained, most of the computers that used a analog signal like this would have had built-in software to find that program. And now let me talk about one thing you might want to know. So on the Tandy TRS-80 portable line of computers, this is the only thing I know. You want to have the volume at 5 or higher. 5 or higher is the limit. You can't do any less than that, or the computer won't pick up the signal. But since this is like built in, like everything, it's connected. It doesn't have to have any volume control, because honestly, you're not going to be hearing anything out of it. It's just going to be going straight to the Commodore. So, now that... So, Kellen, do you have any other thoughts before we end this video?
No, not really.
Okay. And also, right before we go, some of these had not volume knobs, but tone knobs. I'm not sure what the tone knobs were actually used for, but the volume knob sort of plays the same role as that with something I'm using right now. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed.
But also, I like how that is wireless if you're not using the mic or headphones, and this isn't wireless.
Yes, actually, that has a battery compartment, which that was supposed to be used as a regular headphone. That was supposed to be used as a regular one, but actually, but it does take batteries, so it's a little more portable, and it has a carrying handle. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Maybe you learned something, and me and Kellen will see you guys next time. Peace.
Peace.